There's a Social Security benefit that could be worth $12,000 to $24,000 per year to you right now. Not in the future. Not if you're lucky. Right now. But the Social Security Administration isn't going to tell you about it. They won't send you a letter. They won't call. They won't automatically add it to your monthly check. If you don't know to ask for it, you'll simply never receive it. And the shocking reality is that millions of Americans are leaving this money on the table every single month. I'm talking about spousal benefits, divorced spouse benefits, survivor benefits, and several other Social Security provisions that exist in the law but remain hidden from the vast majority of people who could claim them. We are on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers to build a community that is aware of these financial shifts. If that resonates with you, hit subscribe. What I find so deeply troubling about this situation is that we're not talking about obscure edge cases or benefits that only affect a tiny percentage of people. We're talking about provisions that could help millions of married couples, divorced individuals, widows, widowers, and military veterans. These aren't new benefits created by recent legislation. They've existed for decades, but they remain effectively invisible because the system doesn't actively inform people they exist. The result is a massive transfer of wealth from ordinary retirees to the Social Security system simply through ignorance. People who worked their entire lives, paid into Social Security, and are legally entitled to higher benefits are receiving less than they should. Not because they don't qualify, not because they did anything wrong, but because nobody told them to ask. Let me tell you what I've discovered by digging into these hidden benefits is that the Social Security system operates on a principle that I believe is fundamentally unfair. You must know what to ask for. If you don't know the right questions, if you don't understand the specific terminology, if you don't proactively request benefits you're entitled to, you simply won't receive them. It's a system that rewards knowledge and punishes ignorance, and the stakes are tens of thousands of dollars per year. Let's start with the single most commonly missed benefit, one that could be worth $1,500 per month or more to millions of married Americans. It's called the spousal benefit, and here's how it works. If you're married, you can claim up to 50% of your spouse's full retirement age benefit, even if you never worked a day in your life or earned very little during your career. What I find particularly striking about this is how the numbers actually work in practice. Let's say your spouse had a successful career and their full retirement age benefit is $3,000 per month. You stayed home to raise children or worked part-time, and your own Social Security benefit is only $800 per month based on your earnings record. When you reach full retirement age, you can claim the spousal benefit and receive up to $1,500 per month instead, 50% of your spouse's benefit. That's an additional $700 per month or $8,400 per year. Over a 20-year retirement, that's $168,000 in additional benefits you're entitled to by law. But here's the shocking part. Social Security will not automatically tell you about this option. When you file for benefits, if you simply claim your own benefit based on your work record, that's what you'll get. You'll receive that $800 per month, and nobody at Social Security will say, by the way, you're eligible for significantly more through a spousal benefit. This isn't theoretical. I've spoken with countless retirees who discovered years into their retirement that they'd been eligible for spousal benefits all along. They'd been receiving $900 or $1,000 per month when they should have been receiving $1,500 or $800. That's money they can never get back. Those years of reduced benefits are simply lost. What makes this even more insidious is how the system is designed. When you apply for Social Security, you're deemed to be filing for all benefits you're eligible for. But if you don't know spousal benefits exist, if you don't specifically ask about them, and if the Social Security representative doesn't proactively mention them, you could easily miss out. The burden is on you to know what you're entitled to. This reminds me of what psychologists call information asymmetry, when one party in a transaction has significantly more information than the other. In this case, Social Security has complete information about all the benefits you're eligible for. You, on the other hand, likely have no idea what questions to ask. This asymmetry creates an environment where people consistently make suboptimal decisions simply because they don't have access to the knowledge they need. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. If you were married for at least 10 years and are now divorced, you can claim benefits based on your ex-spouse's earnings record even if they've remarried. Your ex-spouse doesn't need to know. They don't need to agree. Their benefits aren't reduced in any way. It costs them absolutely nothing. Yet millions of divorced Americans have no idea this option exists. Let me walk you through the real numbers because they're substantial. Say you were married for 12 years before divorcing. Your ex-spouse had a higher earning career, and their full retirement age benefit is $2,800 per month. Your own benefit based on your work record is $1,200 per month. When you reach full retirement age, you can claim a divorced spousal benefit of up to $1,400 per month, 50% of your ex's benefit. That's $200 more per month than your own benefit, or $12,400 per year. Over a 25-year retirement, that's $60,000 in additional benefits you're legally entitled to. But again, Social Security isn't going to proactively tell you this. If you file for your own retirement benefit without asking about divorced spousal benefits, you'll simply receive the lower amount. The system will process your claim, start sending you $1,200 per month, and never mention that you could be getting $1,400. What I find particularly fascinating about this benefit is the emotional resistance many people have to claiming it. There's often shame or pride involved. People think, I don't want anything from my ex, or I don't want them to know I'm claiming on their record. But here's the crucial point. This isn't charity from your ex-spouse. This is a benefit you're entitled to under federal law because you were married for the required period. Your ex will never know unless you tell them. Their benefit amount doesn't change. There is literally zero downside to claiming this benefit if you're eligible. The requirements are straightforward. The marriage must have lasted at least 10 years. You must be at least 62 years old. Your ex-spouse must be at least 62, and you must currently be unmarried. If you've remarried, you generally can't claim on your ex's record. But if you meet these criteria and your ex's benefit is higher than yours, you could be leaving thousands of dollars per year on the table by not claiming the divorced spousal benefit. I've heard heartbreaking stories of divorced individuals struggling financially in retirement who had no idea they were eligible for significantly higher benefits based on their ex-spouse's earnings. They suffered through years of financial stress, cutting medications, skipping meals, living in substandard housing, while money they were legally entitled to sat unclaimed. The tragedy is that this suffering was completely avoidable if only they'd known to ask. Now let's talk about survivor benefits, which represent one of the most valuable but least understood aspects of Social Security. When a worker dies, their family members can receive benefits including spouses, ex-spouses, children, and in some cases, even parents. The amounts can be substantial, potentially providing $40,000, $50,000, or even $80,000 per year to a family. Yet many eligible recipients never claim these benefits because they simply don't know they exist. Here's how the numbers actually work. If a worker dies and their primary insurance amount was $3,000 per month, a surviving spouse who has reached full retirement age can receive 100% of that benefit, $3,000 per month or $36,000 per year. If the surviving spouse is only 60 years old, they can still claim a reduced benefit of approximately 71.5%, which would be $2,145 per month or $25,740 annually. But it gets even more valuable for families with children. A surviving spouse caring for a child under age 16 can receive benefits at any age. There's no minimum age requirement. They can receive up to 75% of the deceased worker's benefit. Each child can also receive up to 75% of the benefit until age 19 or age 23 if they're still in school. The family maximum is typically 150% to 180% of the worker's benefit. But even with that cap, we're talking about potentially massive amounts of money. Let me give you a concrete example. A worker dies at age 68. Their benefit was $3,000 per month. The surviving spouse is 58 years old with two children under 18. The spouse can claim approximately $2,145 per month. Each child can receive up to $2,250 per month, though the family maximum would cap the total. Even with the cap, this family could receive $6,000 to $7,000 per month, $72,000 to $84,000 per year in survivor benefits. Over 10 years until the children age out, that's $720,000 to $840,000 in total benefits. What I find so troubling is that Social Security doesn't automatically notify all eligible family members when a worker dies. They may send a standard notification to the surviving spouse, but if there are divorced spouses who were married for 10 plus years, or adult children who became disabled before age 22, or dependent parents, these individuals often never learn they're eligible for benefits. The money simply goes unclaimed. This is particularly problematic for divorced spouses. Many people don't realize that if you were married to someone for at least 10 years, you can claim survivor benefits on their record even if they remarried before dying. Your ex-spouse's current widow or widower receives survivor benefits, and you can too. It doesn't reduce anyone else's benefits. But divorced individuals often have no contact with their ex's family and may never learn about the death. They continue living on their own reduced benefit, completely unaware that they're eligible for significantly more. Now, I want to address two provisions that technically reduce benefits rather than increase them, but they're so poorly understood and so devastating to those affected that I consider them hidden in their own right. These are the government pension offset and the windfall elimination provision, and they primarily affect teachers, police officers, firefighters, and other government employees who receive pensions from work not covered by Social Security. The government pension offset, or GPO, can eliminate spousal or survivor benefits if you receive a government pension. Here's how it works. Social Security reduces your spousal or survivor benefit by 2/3 of your government pension amount. Let's say you're a retired teacher receiving a pension of $2,000 per month. You're eligible for spousal benefits from your husband's Social Security of $1,500 per month. The GPO reduces your spousal benefit by 1/3, 2/3 of $2,000. Your actual spousal benefit becomes $167 per month instead of $1,500. That's a reduction of $15,196 per year, money you were counting on but won't receive. What I find particularly cruel about this provision is that many government employees don't learn about it until they actually file for spousal or survivor benefits. They spent their entire career believing they'd receive both their government pension and spousal Social Security benefits in retirement. They planned their finances accordingly. Then, at age 65 or 67, they file for benefits and discover the GPO will eliminate most or all of their spousal benefit. Their retirement income is suddenly thousands of dollars per year less than they expected. The windfall elimination provision, or WEP, reduces your own Social Security retirement benefit if you receive a government pension. The reduction can be up to 50% of your pension amount, though there are limits based on your years of Social Security covered employment. Someone with a calculated Social Security benefit of $2,000 per month and a government pension of $1,500 per month might see their Social Security benefit reduced to $1,200 or $1,500 per month. That's a loss of $6,000 to $9,600 per year. Both of these provisions affect millions of government workers, yet awareness remains shockingly low. Teachers, in particular, are often blindsided by these rules. They worked 30 years in teaching with a state pension system, then perhaps worked another 10 years in the private sector to qualify for Social Security. They expect to receive both their teacher's pension and Social Security, only to discover at retirement that WEP has cut their Social Security benefit in half. Here's a provision that could potentially be worth $100,000 to $400,000 to people who claimed Social Security early and now regret it. It's called the withdrawal of application, but most people know it as the do-over rule. If you claimed Social Security benefits and it's been less than 12 months, you can withdraw your application, repay all the benefits you've received, and file again later for a higher benefit. The numbers on this are striking. Let's say you claimed at age 62 and have been receiving $1,400 per month for 8 months. You've received a total of $11,200. You realize you made a mistake. You should have waited. Under the do-over rule, you can withdraw your application, write Social Security a check for $11,200, and your record is treated as if you never claimed. You can then wait until 67 or 70 and claim the much higher benefit you would have received at those ages. If you withdraw after receiving $11,200 and then wait until age 70 to claim, your benefit might be $2,480 per month instead of the $1,400 you locked in. That's $1,080 more per month, or $12,160 per year. Over a 20-year retirement, that's $259,200 in additional lifetime benefits. Yes, you had to repay $11,200, but the net gain is $248,000. That's an extraordinary return on what amounts to a short-term loan to yourself. What I find so frustrating about this rule is that Social Security doesn't advertise it. When you claim benefits, they don't tell you, by the way, you have 12 months to change your mind if you regret this decision. Many people go through a period of buyer's remorse after claiming early. They feel they made a mistake, but they assume it's irreversible. They resign themselves to the reduced benefit for the rest of their lives when there's actually a window to undo the decision. The 12-month limitation is strict, however. If it's been 13 months since you claimed, you're generally locked in. The only other option at that point is to suspend your benefits once you reach full retirement age and earn delayed retirement credits until age 70. But this is less advantageous than the do-over because you're already receiving the permanently reduced benefit. For veterans who served before 1968, there's a little-known provision that can add $160 per month or more to your Social Security benefit. These are military service credits, and they're available for service members who served during certain periods when military service didn't earn Social Security credits the same way it does today. Here's how the math works. For each year of military service before 1968, you can add approximately $160 per month to your Social Security benefit in 2026. If you served 4 years, that's an additional $640 per month, or $7,680 per year. Over a 20-year retirement, that's $153,600 in additional lifetime benefits. What makes this particularly egregious is that Social Security doesn't automatically add these credits to your benefit calculation. You must request them and provide your military service records. Many veterans have no idea these credits exist. They claim their Social Security retirement benefit based on their civilian work history, and the military service credits are simply never applied. They receive a lower benefit for their entire retirement because nobody told them to request the military credits they earned through their service to the country. I've spoken with Vietnam-era veterans who discovered these credits decades into their retirement. They'd been receiving $1,800 per month when they should have been receiving $2,400. That's $600 per month or $7,200 per year in lost benefits, money they can never recover for the years already passed. The sense of betrayal these veterans feel is palpable. They served their country, they earned these credits through their service, but the system failed to inform them these credits existed. Here's another hidden benefit that could increase your monthly check without you even realizing it's possible. If you claimed Social Security before full retirement age but continued working, your benefit is recalculated each year to include your additional earnings. This can result in a 5% to 15% benefit increase over time, but most people who claimed early don't know this recalculation happens or how to verify it's being applied correctly. Let's say you claimed at 62 with a benefit of $400 per month. You continued working for 5 more years with relatively high earnings. Each year, Social Security is supposed to recalculate your benefit to include those earnings if they're higher than any of the 35 years used in your original calculation. By age 67, your benefit might have increased to 1,680 per month, a 280 per month increase or $3,260 per year. What I find concerning is that this recalculation happens automatically in theory, but in practice, errors occur. Benefits don't always get adjusted properly, and because most people don't know to check, they continue receiving the lower benefit indefinitely. You need to proactively review your earnings record and verify that your benefit is being recalculated each year to include your recent work. Let me be very direct about the action steps you need to take immediately if any of these situations might apply to you. If you're married, request a benefit estimate that includes spousal benefits. Don't assume you're getting the maximum you're entitled to. Specifically ask Social Security to compare your own retirement benefit to the spousal benefit you'd receive based on your spouse's record. Get it in writing. If you're divorced, if you were married for at least 10 years, contact Social Security and ask about divorced spousal benefits. Provide your marriage certificate and divorce decree. They'll tell you if you're eligible for a higher benefit based on your ex-spouse's record. Do this even if you think your benefit is adequate. You might be surprised. If you're widowed or your spouse recently died, file for survivor benefits immediately. Don't wait. Don't assume someone will contact you. If you were divorced from someone who died and you were married for 10 plus years, file for divorced survivor benefits. These benefits can be substantial, and every month you delay is money you're losing. If you receive a government pension, research how GPO and WEP affect your benefits. If you're affected, plan accordingly. Your actual Social Security benefits may be far less than you expect. This is critical for retirement planning. If you're a veteran, request your military service records and ask Social Security specifically about military service credits for any service before 1968. Make sure these are included in your benefit calculation. If you claimed early and regret it, if it's been less than 12 months, immediately inquire about withdrawing your application. Calculate whether the do-over makes financial sense for your situation. If you're past the 12-month window, ask about suspending benefits at full retirement age. If you claimed early and continued working, verify that Social Security is recalculating your benefit annually to include your recent earnings. Request a detailed benefit calculation and review your earnings record for accuracy. What I want to leave you with is an understanding of why these benefits remain hidden and what it means for your financial security. The Social Security system is incredibly complex, with thousands of pages of regulations and countless special provisions. It was built incrementally over 90 years, with new rules and benefits added through legislation without simplifying or streamlining the overall structure. The result is a system where your benefits depend not just on your work history and when you claim, but on your knowledge of obscure provisions that could be worth tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a system where two people with identical work histories and identical circumstances can receive vastly different lifetime benefits simply because one knew to ask about spousal benefits or military credits while the other didn't. What I find so troubling is that this isn't accidental. The Social Security Administration has limited resources and millions of beneficiaries. They've adopted a reactive posture where they provide information if you ask the right questions, but they don't proactively ensure every beneficiary receives the maximum benefits they're entitled to. This saves the government money, but costs retirees billions of dollars in unclaimed benefits every year. The spousal benefit divorced spouse benefit, survivor benefit, military service credits, and other provisions I've discussed aren't loopholes in the traditional sense. They're not tax dodges or clever exploitations of ambiguous regulations. They're benefits explicitly written into law intended to protect spouses, divorced individuals, surviving family members, and veterans, but through a combination of complexity, poor communication, and a system that requires you to know what to ask for. Millions of people never receive them. For many retirees, discovering one of these hidden benefits could mean an additional $500, $1,000, or even $2,000 per month. Over a 20 or 25-year retirement, that's $120,000 to $600,000 in additional lifetime income. That's the difference between struggling and thriving in retirement. That's the difference between cutting medications and living comfortably. That's the difference between being a financial burden on your children and leaving them an inheritance. The tragedy is that this money is yours by law. You earned it, you're entitled to it. But if you don't know it exists, you'll never receive it. That's why understanding these hidden benefits isn't just about optimizing your finances. It's about claiming what you've already earned and ensuring you receive everything you're legally entitled to in retirement.